station. It's the Let's Talk Show with myself, Blaze, and of course the fantastic Big E. So, when was the last time you did something for the first time? Have you been living your best life? Of course, it's the Let's Talk Show where anything can happen.
And it usually does.
We have got an amazing lineup for you today. First of all, we have a fantastic guest. More about that later. But what are we doing after our guest, E?
It's party time.
It's party time.
Yeah, it's party time.
After our guest, we've decided to have a bit of a party. Because we haven't had a party for a long time, have we, E? What are you going to be doing, E?
We're going to play tune.
E's going to be playing tune.
We're going to play tune.
For those of you that tuned in last week, E was really trying hard not to tell me his genre of music. He forgot, however, that I am the anchor for the show. And of course, he would have to reveal all his secrets. So he has revealed, and actually I knew none of the songs he suggested, so he can well have told me last week. I did say to E that back in the era, I won't give it away, of when he selected his music, I said we definitely were never in the same rave ever at any time. I was somewhere else in a completely different genre, and he was doing his thing, weren't you, E?
Yeah, I had, remember the smiley faces? You know what I mean? Light stick, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, that was me while he was crabbing in some kind of dance hall somewhere.
Our guest is shaking her head. He's used the word crabbing. I won't translate that because it is a family show. So those of you who know, you just know. So I was doing something completely different. But what were you doing? We look forward to hearing from you later on when we play the tunes, as E calls it. We want you to message in to myself or Big E because we are without a studio phone today because it's Let's Talk Show, anything can happen, and so that's what's happened today.
Yeah, usually does. No studio phone.
There's no phone, but the show will go on and we will be having a party. We will be going back down to memory lane and I want to hear your secrets. I mean, myself and E actually did have some fun putting the show together because E was like, Blaze, you must know this tune. And I was like, no. Did I know any of them, E?
No, you didn't.
I didn't know any. Right. And that's really interesting considering I was somebody who partied quite a lot. So I'm looking forward to partying. But of course, it's a Let's Talk show. We always have a quote. And so today's quote is, where words fail, music speaks. Now, I really like that because sometimes, there's that thing and you just can't put it into words, but there's always a song. So where words fail, music speaks. I know that I've used the next quote before, but you just can't have a show like this or talk about music unless you say one good thing about music when it hits you. You feel no pain. How could we not? That's by the fabulous, fantastic, of course, Bob Marley. You couldn't. I'm sorry, it probably sounds corny, but just couldn't happen. So those are our two quotes for today. So what have we got lined up for you? I do want to say, first of all, a big thank you to last week's guest, Marnie Simpson. What do you think, Big E, about last week's guest?
Yeah, Marnie, young man doing stuff, and hopefully, let's hope the journey that he chooses, it takes him where he needs to end up.
Yeah, so it was fantastic in that Marnie was a young person who I had not seen since the age of 3. He is now a ripe old age of about 28. And I was talking about how life works, how the universe works, whatever it is you aspire to, is that you meet people and then you don't see them for a long time, and so much happens in between that. Well, that is true of today's guest as well, but we'll be back with some more about that. So, what announcements have I got? Well, I've been asked to announce that the High Commissioner of Jamaica, Seth George Ramakan, will be visiting Brent on Thursday, 4th of April 2019. The visits have been arranged in conjunction with the Commonwealth Relations Officer, Mrs. Siver. I hope I've said and pronounced that correctly. With the members of the committee, also Delroy Washington, Norman Mullings, Councillor Orleen Hilton, and of course Lloyd McLeish and Diane Schrouder Johnson. So the visit will start, he'll be visiting Brent Civic Centre. He'll be coming to meet the Worshipful Mayor of Brent, Arshad Mahmood. I hope I have also pronounced that correctly. After which the High Commissioner will visit reggae sites in Brent. Interesting, I wonder where all of those are. Meet and greet some of the Jamaican businesses. Nice. Have lunch at St Michael's Church, ending with a community meeting at the Seventh-day Adventist Church in Wilson. So that's next Thursday, the 4th. Oh, actually, it's the following Thursday. We've got 2 weeks. The following Thursday, April the 4th, the High Commissioner will be visiting. Actually, I think you and I should catch in on some lunch. What do you think?
Yeah, we'll see what goes on. We'll meet the Jamaican High Commission.
And have some lunch.
And say, well, go on.
I think we should. So that's happening on the 4th of April. So if you're interested, maybe you can go down to the Civic Centre. And also, I guess, listen in after the 4th, because we'll be finding out where all the reggae sites are. Or if you know, maybe you can call in and tell us, because I don't actually know. Text in. No, not today. Yeah, can't call in today, but you can text in. So what else is happening? Oh, of course, as I said, we're going back down memory lane, and it is a night down memory lane with the Railway Club reunion dance, calling north, east, south, and west on Saturday, the 6th of April, 2019. That is down at the luxurious Royal Banqueting Suite, 397 High Road, Wembley, Middlesex. You will be musically entertained by some heavyweights. Countryman Champion, Jemmy in Ting Magic. I like saying that, in Ting. Jemmy in Ting Magic, generally. And who else? Oh, Fat Man Mighty. So don't forget, it is the Railway Club reunion dance. For those of you that were raving at that time. I don't think, judging by his genre of music, that he was there. But anyway, we'll find out later. But there's a night of pure entertainment. There will be a live performance by none other than Paul Dawkins. So those of you who remember the days when women wore pencil skirts, platform shoes, and drank Baby Sham and Cherry B. Men wore cut suits, slacks, scabichis, and drank rum and black, red stripe and Tennants. Now, does any of that ring any bells to you, Big E? Were you drinking Tennants, cut suits?
I haven't got a clue of any of that thing you just mentioned there.
Okay, so he was not at...
Especially platform shoes.
He was not at the reunion. Oh, he won't be at the reunion because he was not at the Railway Club, actually. So, without further ado, today's show is entitled The After Party. Before we go on to that, though, I've heard that BBC plan to shut down the only black political talk show. The show has been running for 20 years. It's Dotton on Sunday show. Now, I've also known Dotton probably for about 20 years, so there is a petition going around to try and avoid that happening. I don't have the full amounts as to why, but there are some black solicitors who are sending around a petition. So if you've ever tuned into the Dotton on Sunday show, or you simply want to support, then if it comes into your WhatsApp, please do sign and pass on. So, send a big shout out to, who have we got coming in this afternoon? I believe we've got a voice of Amita with Amita Shah. We usually have 2 to 4 up front and urban with Renelle Denise. We don't have Sassy Empress today, and I don't have my teeth in. Tomorrow, Sunday from 10 until 12, we have Rooted and Grounded Gospel Show with the fantastic Pastor Loy. She kicks off the day nicely on a Sunday. We still have a free slot from 12 until 2, but we are back from 2 until 4 with Soul Spectrum with the fantastic Patrick D. Patrick, how are you doing? 4 to 6 p.m. Electro with the fabulous Ben. So tune in tomorrow. Also, remember that you can find us on our Facebook page and our Instagram. And also, we do have a Let's Talk Business slot. So if you want to come into the studio and talk to myself and Big E and tell the listeners about your business, or maybe an event you have coming up, then contact us and let us know if you'd like to do that. So what have we got? Next week, joining us in the studio will be Pamela Haynes. She'll be here talking to us about her book, Loving the Brothers. I like the title of that. And how she supports women to make changes to their lives for the better. Now, what's interesting, almost by default, I think Big E will say otherwise, I've only ever had male guests. I have no idea how that's happened. I've had one female guest, but I am happy to announce that in the studio today, we do have a female guest. Now, our guest today describes herself as a brainy, brawny, beautiful academic. I love it. She is a cultural sociologist, a theorist and methodologist who developed a research method to analyse and understand the music of the social science and cultural studies field. She's completed her PhD at Warwick University, focusing on race, spirituality, class, gender, and music as it relates to grime music. Now, I have to say a couple of things. I always do research before my guests come onto the show. You can see that our guest has a lot of ologists and ologies, and I felt like I was actually doing a PhD. So, Dr. Monique Charles, welcome to the Let's Talk show. What an introduction. I'm going to need you to unravel some of what that means, because doing your research, it felt like I was doing a PhD. Dr. Monique Charles, good morning and welcome to the Let's Talk show.
Hi, thanks for having me. Where do I begin?
Well, that's what we're asking you to do, because there's so much to you. We thought the best person to unravel all of that, of course, would be you.
Okay.
So what does a cultural sociologist, a theorist and methodologist, what does all of that mean to somebody who hasn't studied in that area?
Okay, so sociology is studying society, I suppose. So I study society, see how it works. Cultural studies, looking at cultural practices, the sort of things that people do in their everyday lives. So cultural sociologist that specialises in music and sound, I look at black music in particular, the cultural practices, the raves, that sort of thing, and the lyrical content in music, how the music sounds. So I kind of look at it, and I also look at it in its social context. So if there are, in the lead up to the general election, for example, the whole Grime for Corbyn movement, I look at the role of music in galvanizing people politically, that sort of thing. So that's the cultural sociologist side of things. Theorist, I've developed a theory of what actually happens in a live performance setting, also known as raving or clubbing.
Love it, I love it, I love it.
The journal article that I've written about that has actually been published today, and I kind of connect that to spiritual practices. So I trace it back through the Caribbean and trace it back, or parts of it back, to Western Central African musico-religious practice, as they call it, to see how, I suppose, to kind of explore spiritual elements that happen in a live performance setting. I suppose nowadays you might call it the emotional response, or when somebody drops a tune and everyone goes mad. That's the sort of thing that I kind of theorize about, which is quite fun because you get to go and
I was going to ask, do you know they have those people that I think they're called food bloggers, and they just go to all these different restaurants and eat food. You just go to these different
versus food.
Yeah, is it like that?
It's like you versus raves.
Yes, yeah. It is a bit like that. It is a bit like that. And the methodologist is, I've developed a method of how to analyse music. So you analyse the sounds, you analyse the lyrics, you look at the political climate and the social climate of the time to get a real good understanding of actually what is going on in a particular genre of music at any given point in time.
Now, is that not an amazing introduction? I have to say, Monique, you were talking about analysing raves, and for the longest time I have said there's a particular aspect of raving, especially in the black community, where there's, I don't know if you've done this, where there's this massive gap in the middle and nobody feels it. The donut. Yeah. But when you go to other raves, handbags in the middle, I don't even need to say which culture of people, handbags in the middle, and they are going for it 100%. So, I'm excited about, and it's been published today?
Yeah, published today.
Fantastic. I don't know if that was mind-blowing for you, Big E, but that blew my mind. What about you? Are you still with us?
I'm just eager to ask some questions, because now I can say, well, could you tell me why we have certain things going on in the rave? So it's like the donut for number one, the getting blank when you ask someone to dance, you know what I mean, that sort of stuff. So hopefully we can get some answers. Guys, if you're out there, the man don't listen now, you might have a little tip on how to get a dance.
And for those of you that don't know, a little translation, blank means when the person you've asked for a dance, or pulled for a dance, that means touched and not asked, has said no. That's the translation. So, Dr. Monique, I don't know if you have any of those quick answers to help Big E with, or is it a bit...
Well, I actually look at the impact of the music and how people move to the music, how people dance to the music, or where the DJ might wheel up a track that sort of thing. Okay. So I was probably responsible for blanking people because I was actually trying to observe those things in the live performance setting.
It's like I'm not dancing, I'm here to work.
I love it. You should see Eve's face, the complete disappointment, like he's not going to find the answer to blanking from Dr. Monique Charles. He's not going to find it today. But maybe, E, you might want to go out and do some research.
I might just do that. Yeah, I might just do that. That's a whole nother talk show.
There's another talk show. It's going to be so much fun today. I'm so excited. But Dr. Monique, you and I actually met first in 2000, I believe, at Middlesex University,
yes,
where we were both studying psychology.
Yes.
So we know that you have a PhD, but can you tell us some of the other studies that you've done before getting to do your PhD?
Okay, so my first degree was in psychology with a minor in race and cultural studies. I've always been interested in issues around race, and I had a general interest in music. And then when I left there, I did my master's, and my master's was in race and ethnic relations. That was at Birkbeck College, part of University of London, so it's in Euston, around the Euston area. They've renamed it now because it looked at gender, it looked at class as well, and some other kind of aspects of society, I suppose. And then once I had left there, after a couple of years, I started my PhD at Warwick, and I was very interested in focusing on grime because at the time when I was finishing up my master's dissertation was looking at hip-hop and race, and looking at how the most commercially successful artists at the time, male and female, which at the time were 50 Cent and Little Kim, conformed most strongly to crude stereotypes of black people. So I was looking at that. I was also looking at the political economy of the music industry and seeing how it was very much similar to sharecropping. I don't know if anyone's familiar with sharecropping in the American South. They were no longer enslaved, but they were cotton pickers, and the amount of money that they would generate for the owners of the land was immense, but the actual sharecroppers would be earning pittance. So I was kind of looking at the political economy of the music industry. So it looked like everyone was making lots of money, but you're performing crude examples of racist stereotypes, and on top of that, people were acting like they had a lot of money and were rich, but the industry itself was making most of the money, and the artists, if they couldn't pay them back, were basically slaves or owned by the industry. And then whilst I was doing that, around the mid-noughties, that politicians started to say, all this knife crime is a result of this new music that's coming, it's gangster rap. I don't even know if they knew it was called grime at the time, but they were blaming lots of the young people for moral decline. And I thought, actually, there's no body of scholarly work, there's no academic work to kind of push back and show some of the other things that is happening with young people here. Whereas when I was doing my thesis or my dissertation on hip hop and music, there's lots of American academics that can talk about the good that it's contributed to society as well. So that's kind of what led me to my PhD, really.
Do you know, I am just in awe of this amazing young lady that is sat before me, who I have seen grown. I don't think I'm quite old enough to be her mum, but I do know her mum, and her mum is an amazing individual in any case. I do want to send a good morning shout out to Maureen. But to say that, as I mentioned earlier, I met Dr. Monique Charles as a young person in 2000. And the amount of information that she has just given me has blown my mind, because those are all the things that people talk about or make guesses about or use the information as if factual. But as she's quite rightly said, well, actually, there's no real facts about that. Has anybody looked into it? The other thing, Dr. Monique, that's interesting about what you've said in relation to the artists themselves, and were they actually really making money, or was it the industry? That's really important, in particular for our young people who aspire to be these individuals, to have a real understanding. And what you have done is you've opened the platform for many, and not just young people, but people in the music industry anyway. So I was quite blown away when I read the information. And I first knew that you were a doctor because I was at a meeting in Brent sat in the meeting in Brent, and the mic was being passed around. I don't know if you remember that. The mic was being passed around, and they were saying, "Can you introduce yourself?" And I heard, "Oh yes, my name is Dr. Monique Charles." And I was like, "Well, I know Monique Charles." When I looked around and saw you, I was just, I can't tell you. So I'm really proud of you today.
You.
I have to say I'm really proud of you, because I think you have just been phenomenal in all that you've done since I've seen you last.
Thank you.
What I do want to say, continuing almost on the same vein, is that your CV is just out of this world. I looked at it and I thought, but hold on a minute, how old is she? So your CV is quite extensive. How have you managed to fit all of this into one lifetime at such a young age?
I'm a workaholic.
Well, there's the answer. What do you think about that, E?
Well, that says it. That tells you one. But it's even, if you're as a workaholic, it's your achievements and it's what you want, so you go out to get it. And for just looking at that, people might think, oh yeah, well, you can never do that, this, that, and the other. And again, it shows a lot of the young people that we're having on the show. It's showing us that we can go out there, do things, get things done, and don't just sit down and expect it to come to you.
Fantastic. I used to say to my boys, people aren't just going to knock on the door while you're at home watching TV and say, oh, by the way, I've got a job for you. They will do that if you've done the groundwork. And Monique shows some serious determination, and I find that uplifting. I think E has a specific question to ask you now. We hope that you haven't already answered it. You may have touched on it.
Yeah.
Let's see if there's any more you've got to add to it.
Yeah, tell us about, because you seem to know a lot about and studied grime music. I'd like you to tell me what made you actually choose it, and tell us a little bit about the grime stuff and how you got involved in that. And one other question, I want to know if you can spare.
Okay, I'm good at writing, not necessarily spitting or spraying bars.
Okay. Can you just explain to the listeners who don't know what spitting and spraying bars mean?
It's just the lyricism, or rapping, if you want to use a more conventional term.
Yeah.
Okay, so the question again, sorry?
Yeah, it's what actually brought you into it to say, well, I'm gonna go the direction in grime, because you said you looked at hip hop. I used to be old. Well, I like hip hop. That's my music. But yeah, choosing grime, and as you say, some of the stuff that was going on about it. Yeah, tell us a bit more of why you went that direction.
Okay, so there are a couple of reasons why I chose grime. I came up listening to music a bit before grime, so people think, why you, why grime? Well, it was happening at the time, and I figured the best way to get the rawest or the truest reflection of what's happening is by asking people what's happening at the time. I don't know if you're aware that there are some projects going on looking into reggae or looking into other genres of music, older genres of music, and then with the benefit of hindsight, stories may or may not change. So at least with grime, it was happening at the time. I could capture it at the time. I also knew that if it had already made a buzz in the underground and amongst the youth, it would only continue to grow. I also know that when it comes to black musical forms, historically, the people that are in and around the communities may not show it much interest until outsiders show it interest, and it's this new thing. So I thought, well, actually, I want to get in there and get the truth, or get as close to the truth as possible. So that was a factor. Other factors were, I've always had an interest in music. I've always had an interest in race. When I was going to school, it was classical music, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with classical music, but there was nothing about jungle, there was nothing about garage music, there was nothing about hip hop or UK hip hop, nothing. And so I thought, well, if I can get in at the time when it's happening and speak to the people on the ground when it's happening and capture that, then, and this is another reason why I think my outputs or my publishing is so much, is because I want to make sure that there are resources for students coming up or people that are genuinely interested, so they have something to read, because I didn't have anything to read about the genres of music that I was interested in. So does that kind of answer the question? Yeah.
I think so. I am still a bit silenced, but yeah, I think so, and I think it's so amazing that you're talking about putting things out there for people, because you've recognised that there was a gap in the market, and that when you were studying, how difficult it was for you to find the specific types of material that you needed. I too found it quite difficult if I wanted to do something specific. In fact, I was stopped from looking at children who were affected by attention deficit hyperactivity disorder who were from an African or Caribbean family, because they had said, well, you might unfold something that we can't manage, and so they prevented me from having access to the information. So the fact that you are now making that information available by your publications that's second to none. How many publications do you have already?
I have sorry,
she can't remember. Sorry, I threw,
I'm counting, but I have some others in the pipeline.
She's got some.
I mean, what I will say, based on what you've just said, this is the importance of people doing academic work and PhD work, so that when people want to research something, they're not steered away, because there is a hierarchy in knowledge and what people are allowed to research. So this is one of the other messages that I want to get out there, and want to encourage people that are academically inclined or like studying. You can actually do this, and you can study things, make things known, even if they are kind of known already, but make things known officially, and then produce literature and publish things so that other people have these resources and can build knowledge and make things already known more public, and make them more understandable.
Yeah, so that means like you'll have stuff, and if it's a little bit too difficult to understand, you put it in layman's terms, whereas someone could just pick it up and I get that.
I like that. So you have been really busy.
Yeah.
She actually still looks like she's 18. She looks absolutely fabulous. She's got amazing skin. I don't know how she looks that good with all that studying. Maybe it's the studying that helps her to look that good, because that's a lot of hard work. She looks amazing. You are beautiful.
Thank you.
And of course she describes herself as a brainy, brawny, beautiful academic. And guess what? She is absolutely right. So let's revisit today's quote. We are talking about music today. If you've just tuned in the studio, it's myself, Blaze, alongside the fantastic Big E. And we have an amazing guest today, Dr. Monique Charles. The quote for today is, "Where words fail, music speaks." And wow, has Dr. Monique Charles brought that to the fore today? Absolutely. Where words fail, music speaks. One thing about music, when it hits you, you feel no pain. So it is the Let's Talk show. When was the last time you did something for the first time? And have you been living your best life? What else happens here? It's a Let's Talk show. Anything can happen, and it usually does. Sadly, we are without studio mobile today. But if you've been enjoying what we have been discussing in the studio today, if you wish to ask Dr. Monique Charles any questions, then do one of two things. If you have my details, then message me. If you have the details of Big E, then message him. If you're one of Monique's guests and you're tuning in, then message her. So it's fine, but I do think it's time for us to have a bit of a break. It's time for the all-important commercial break, and we will be right back.
Get up. Get ready. Leave house. Get to work. Shuffle paper. Go to meeting. Eat lunch. Look busy. Leave work. Get home. Watch TV. Go to bed. Repeat until weekend. Want a new job this year? To find out about the 147 different careers we offer, visit armyjobs.mod.uk. One Army, regular and territorial.
If you've got damage on your windscreen, then call Autoglass now. Because we're giving away free Bosch wipers with front windscreen repairs and replacements. But you have to book by the 27th of March. So don't miss out. Call 0800 234 234 or visit autoglass.co.uk. Terms and exclusions apply.
Autoglass repair, Autoglass replace.
Don't look now, the one who's just walked in. Oh, she has got it all.
The one with the long scarf and the woolly hat?
Yeah, don't be so obvious.
I see what you mean. She's got the lot. She's got everything.
Yeah. Oh, she's coming over here. Quick, spread out. We don't want her sitting next to us.
If you've got a cold that's got it all, headache, blocked nose, sore throat, chesty cough, there's only one thing that does it all. Beecham's All-in-One. Give your cold the Beecham's All-in-One. and always read the label.
Your local blood bank is running low on reserves of blood group O. Call 0845 7 711 711 now. Do something amazing today. Save a life. Give blood.
Tricky thing, building an electric car. Without engine noise to hide behind, every squeak and rattle becomes painfully apparent. It has to be designed, developed and built differently. That's why the BMW i3 is made with lightweight carbon fiber in one of the most sustainable, purpose-built automotive factories in the world. Because we weren't just building an electric car, but an electric car that drives like a BMW. Discover more at becomeelectric.co.uk.
What's this?
Edge of Tomorrow action movie.
In action. Simon, we've got the flat to ourselves.
I know. We can watch the new X-Men too.
With the new deal from BT, you get BT Infinity Fibre Optic plus BT TV with must-see dramas on Netflix and the latest movies to rent or buy on BT Box Office. All for $5.99 a month for the first 6 months, then $20.99 a month. Visit bt.com/TV.
BT line $16.99 a month, 68% UK coverage, $6.95 hub delivery, £49 TV Infinity activation. No calls included, terms apply. New customers, 18-month term, then $28.49 monthly, 20 gigabytes usage. Payable by direct debit, Netflix from $5.99 a month.
ISDN is a tool of the company. Previous to having ISDN was a very rigid sort of company, and we're just a lot more flexible. It can definitely give you the edge.
It's definitely improved the way we work, so I think it's value for money.
Every week, BT install 2,000 ISDN lines. If you call now, you can save £80 on connection. Why not change the way we work? Why not call BT on free phone 0800 800 800?
Okay, so we are back from the all-important commercial break. Sorry, we almost didn't come back there. We got so caught up in conversation because Dr. Monique Charles is blowing our minds. So it is the Chalkhill Community Radio Station. You are, of course, locked into the Let's Talk Show with myself, Blaze, Big E, and Dr. Monique Charles is our special guest today. We have been talking about grime. So what is grime? Grime is a genre of electronic dance music that's emerged in London in around, say, the early 2000s. It was developed out of an earlier UK electronic music style, including UK garage and jungle. And it draws influences also from dancehall, ragga and hip-hop. The style is typified by rapid, syncopated... I don't know if I've said that right. Does that sound right?
Syncopated, yeah.
Syncopated, okay. Breakbeat, generally around 140 beats per minute. That actually means absolutely nothing to me.
Really fast.
Really fast, that means really fast. And often features an aggressive or jagged electronic sound. Would you agree?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Okay. Rapping is also a significant element of the style, and lyrics often revolve around gritty depictions of urban life. I think there was some talk about spitting earlier. Does that fit into that part?
Yeah, the rapping and spitting. Yeah.
So the rapping is the spitting. So the style initially spread amongst pirate radio stations such as Rinse FM and the underground scenes before actually achieving some mainstream recognition in the UK, as we said, during or around the mid-2000s. Through artists such as Dizzy Rascal. Oh, I'm quite impressed because I think I do know him. Kano, Lethal Bizzle. Have I said that right?
Kano.
Yeah. I should have just probably let Dr. Monique do this. I don't know why I'm actually trying to do this, but there you go. I've started, so I shall finish. And Wiley. Is that right? Mm-hmm. Okay, so we're talking about grime music, and Dr. Monique Charles has spoken about how she had a particular interest in this area of music. So... let's see, what else do we need to know about you? So Big E asked Dr. Monique Charles if she had a favourite artist, and what was your answer?
I don't really have favourites, but I don't really have favourites of anything, which I think, I don't know, people always find that a bit strange. But I like Wiley, I do like Kano, I like DEE. There's lots that I like, but I like things. I don't necessarily have favourites. I just enjoy the experience or the journey as I go along.
Okay, I like that. We are going to try and find a grime track at some point. We're going to set that up and then we'll play that. But in the meantime, so that you can have yourself a break and get yourself set for the after party, we are going to just play a track. Take it. music unless you play Bob Marley. I know it sounds corny, but you have to say one thing about music: when it hits you, oh my gosh, you feel no pain. So I think one thing that we all have in common in the studio, whether I know the genres or not, we all love music. So whilst we were playing Bob Marley and Trench Town Rock, Dr. Monique Charles had something to tell us.
Oh, well, in February I went to Jamaica, and I presented some work on grime, connecting grime to dancehall, reggae, dub, at the International Global Reggae Conference at the University of the West Indies. So when you do academic work and or publish and conduct research, you get to travel to wonderful places to share your research as well.
I guess there's going to be a queue of people wanting to do research about anything. It's worth it. But actually that really is a good point, that, you know, one of the greatest things actually is to know. We spend a lot of time not knowing lots of stuff, and of course we can't know everything about everything, but it's really nice and important to just know some new things. It opens you up to a new conversation. It allows you, as Monique is saying, to visit places. You get to meet different people, and exposure is so important. There is so much more to life than just doing the things you always do, because then you just get what you've always got. But if you want to be brave, brawny, and I can't guarantee beautiful, but get out there and do a PhD. What do you think, Dr. Monique Charles?
I thoroughly recommend it. If you have an inquisitive mind, if there are things that you want to say, I definitely would encourage anybody to do it. And what you find, it becomes, I suppose, a thing for eternity. It kind of lasts, it outlives you. All the research that you've collected, it outlives you, and it goes into other people's courses, their reading lists and stuff like that at university or college, or just becomes general knowledge. So I always encourage everyone and anyone who's really interested to give it a go.
I like that, it outlives you. I like that, it goes to someone else. I really like that. But do you know, academics isn't the only thing. Mm-hmm. Is it, Big E?
It says here
what
that,
else?
That you're a sporty person.
Yep.
Tell us some about some of the sports that you do.
Okay, so I do boxing, not competitive, because obviously the beautiful part might
go
that might not be around. But I do non-competitive as boxing, pad work, that sort of stuff. I love my soca aerobics as well, and I do circuit training. So those are the things I'm doing at the moment. But yeah, gym, sometimes jogging, but the knees don't really like it very much anymore. But yeah, those are the main things that I do, and I love athletics as well. Well, to watch now, I've kind of outgrown the doing it.
It happens to the best of us.
Okay, and you've also got a famous person in your family. Tell us something about that. A famous sporty person, should we say?
Sporty uncle.
Okay.
I have a famous sporty uncle, but I should also say my mum is famous. Okay, just to
I'm fabulous. Tell us about your mum as well. Doesn't have to be sporty. Tell us about your mum and your famous uncle.
Well, my famous uncle is Luther Blissett, who was one of the first pioneering black British footballers. He also played for AC Milan. I don't remember this. I was very young at the time.
Round of applause for...
Yep.
Got to big up the man them. Thank you for going forward so that we can go on your shoulders.
Yes, very much so. And I suppose my mum is a well-known, I think she's a well-known teacher locally in Brent at least. She's taught for many years, so many pupils have reaped the benefits of her teaching, I guess. But yeah, my uncle is Luther Blissett.
Including my own. I love how Monique has said that about her mum, because I think her mum is fabulous. Well, so Maureen Blissett, good morning. I do think that you are fabulous. And as I say, and I've said a couple of weeks ago, show me the child and I will show you the parents. That is so fitting in this instance. Maureen, I think you are a superstar, and my own child has had the pleasure of spending time with you. So we thank you, as we thank you for all the work that you have done, so that Dr. Monique Charles could be so amazing. Because I was actually going to ask you, where do you get your drive from? Who are your role models?
It is members of my family. It's also, again, like, I'm not someone that has favourites. I like things and I take inspirations from here and there. So people that have managed to be at the top of the game, as it were, people that have done well in whatever field. I try to learn from what did they do, how did they do that to get to where they are today. So yeah, I mean mainly my family, especially when it comes to the academics as well. My dad, he allowed me to debate with him as a child growing up, so that kind of being able to articulate my point or get my viewpoint across was something that really was refined with my dad as well in particular. But yeah, family mainly.
I like that. So let's send a shout out to your dad also, to your mum, to your dad, to your uncle, and to all of the family members that have been influential in your life. We want to send a shout out to them. So Monique, I mentioned to you that all of my guests get the opportunity to choose a song or two of their choice, and that's usually sent forward to me so that I can add it to my playlist. But I don't have it on my playlist. But what I do want to find out is if you're in a position for us to run with one of your tracks. So are we set to go with that? Big E, can you assist?
We are set to go.
Have we pressed play?
No, but I'm about to.
Okay, right, let's see. Is that sounding like it's going to happen? Monique Charles to describe the track that we just played. Over to you.
Okay, so the track was It's Wiley by Wiley himself, the godfather of grime, although he says he makes Esky, so you know that's up for debate. But yeah, that song I believe was 2011, or that version was 2011. and I suppose he's just talking about he's the best, he's the baddest. He's went back to Jamaica and, you know, paid homage, and just wants everyone to live good in his family off all of the hard work that he's done, that kind of thing. So that was a positive one.
I like that. So, Dr. Monique Charles, you describe yourself as someone who maintains a positive mindset in order to see the beauty in life. So how do you do this? Because here on the Let's Talk show, we are always talking about living your best life. So how do you do that?
I have learnt to see the silver lining even when things look like they're going wrong, because there's a lesson to be learnt there, or it's an opportunity to it's a learning opportunity or an opportunity to go in a slightly different direction. Sometimes it's a blessing if things don't necessarily work out. I think life, you have to think about the journey. I think that's the main thing for me. Think about the journey. Yes, you want to get the goal, or you want to achieve the thing, but the journey is very much part of it, and there are skills and lessons you can use that will help you to continue on your journey. So even if you do achieve something, you're still on the journey. That's just one kind of I suppose thing on, I don't know if the hit list is the right phrase, but it's just part of the journey. So now I think when I find something is disappointing or upsetting, I always think, what can I actually learn from it? What is the beauty in this? What is it teaching me about myself? And how can I strategize or change things to ensure that I can get what it is that I need to do done? Or do I really need to do this? Is this actually in my best interest? So I use it as a time of learning and reflection, I think.
I really like that, and that sits neatly with the phrase that we use every week. I use it in the studio, outside of the studio, and it is really about how do you live your best life, because as you quite rightly said, there are going to be bumps in the road. It doesn't mean it's the end of the road. It's, I guess, an opportunity to say, okay, like you said, two things. Maybe I shouldn't be going down that road. Maybe that's the thing, you know, you might not get what you want, but you might get what you need. And sometimes we can't see that. We just want the thing we want, and sometimes we want it in the time we want it. But there are lessons to learn, and so I really do like that. We are sort of coming to the close of this section. We have, of course, said that you can join us throughout the rest of the show. And we'd love to have you here. You can stay and hang with the party, and maybe teach myself and Big E a few things. But before that, Big E has one last question to ask you.
Yeah, you have your own business. Tell us all about your own sort of stuff that you do, and you know how you can inspire other people to go and look to, you know, have their own business as well.
Okay, so I have a company called That Blackademic Life. So it plays on the academic.
Say that again. Say that again.
That Blackademic Life. So it plays on the word academic. Blackademic, and I'm living that Blackademic life, writing, publishing, traveling to speak at conferences, teaching, that sort of thing. And it's a lifestyle brand, and at the moment I have just done a soft launch of some of the merchandise. So there are t-shirts, mugs, that sort of thing, with lovely jazzy slogans on it to celebrate intellect, intelligence and being clever, and also just to make yourself visible, and it can be cool. I know people usually think, oh, if you are an academic or if you're intellectually inclined, you have to look a particular kind of way, or you can't like regular things, if regular things is even the right term. It's just, I'm clever, I'm proud of it, let me show it for the world, and to also encourage people that are academically gifted or intellectually gifted to pursue this. You don't have to perform the class clown if you're at school. You don't have to perform into some other trope of what cool can be. You can be yourself, you can be clever, and you can still have swagger. As it says, everyday excellence, academic excellence, everyday swag. That's my tagline for my company.
I wonder if Dr. Monique Charles knows that people get locked into the Let's Talk show because we just love their energy, and we are absolutely loving your energy. I want to send a shout out to Sandra, my bestie, who has just said that you are sounding so interesting and so fabulous. So thank you, Sandra. Dr. Monique, I want to ask you if this happens to you. I find when I meet people socially, and I don't say anything about any qualifications or letters after my name or anything like that, but then it might come up in conversation, and then they go, I didn't know you had a degree. and their perception of you changes, and because it's psychology, they think that you're going to be either psychoanalyzing them all the time, or they ask you to, okay, so what person am I? Well, I don't actually know because I've just met you. Does any of that kind of thing happen to you? It happens to me so often.
Yes, very much so. So to look at me, you probably wouldn't think I'm an academic. You probably wouldn't think I would be teaching you or your children at university. I've seen people do double takes and be a bit shocked, but in an everyday situation, people are unaware, and then people seem to recoil or maybe become a bit suspicious, or like, who are you're what? You can see that people can't quite compute the two things, which is another reason why I want people to be bold about being clever, because being clever doesn't look a particular way. And then you have other people who, because I may be younger than them, want to impart knowledge and guide me on my journey, which is nice sometimes. So yeah, it is funny when people actually find these things out. But sometimes I'm quite upfront with it as well, because I like people to know from the get-go, especially if I'm in a professional setting, I am Dr. Monique Charles, and you see them kind of adjust accordingly to know that, this is serious, this is business sort of thing.
I love it. I do. I have so much fun with it. Because, okay, so you're saying in particular in professional settings. Well, yeah, if I'm in a professional setting, I'll say, this is my area of study, this is my specialist, and it depends on where I am. But if I'm out at a rave, as I'm talking about raves, I don't go in and say, oh, hi, my name's Patricia, da-da-da-da, BSc Honours, da-da-da, because A, it would be boring, B, it would be too long, and actually, would it be really relevant? But that said, if it's appropriate, I will talk about it very confidently and very openly, and I just find it amusing. As you said, people recoil, they're like, oh, I need to think about how I move. What they don't know is that I was doing all of that kind of assessing and analysing before I had any qualifications whatsoever. It's kind of innately who I am. I don't know if it feels kind of innate for you. It's innately, I was that person before.
Yes, very much so. Very much so. I was trying to make sense of society as early as I can remember. I mean, when I was learning about fractions in primary school and I learned about quarters, I thought, oh, actually, boys are treated this way, girls are treated this way, white people seem to be treated this way, black people are treated... That, if you split them into quarters, this could tell us something about society. I never necessarily thought it in that concrete way. But
I just thought, I don't like fractions, but you're amazing. You've worked out what it could relate to. I love that.
And so I've always thought this way. Music, issues of race, issues of class have always been of interest to me. And debating with my dad kind of helped.
Fantastic. So you were talking about your business. Were you going to ask us something more about the business? Like, how can
I wanted to find out, how can we get hold of some of the merchandise that you've spoken about?
Okay, so it's a soft launch at the moment, so it's available on my website, which is drmoniquecharles.com. So Monique is Monique, Charles as in Prince Charles. If you can't find me by doing drmoniquecharles.com, then you can always just type in Monique Charles Grime into Google. I will definitely come up. I'm the #1 hit there. So you'll be able to find me there, and then if you go onto my website, you'll see services and shop, and you'll see some of the merchandise there.
But you know what, I just noticed that when you were spelling your name, it's so amazing because in your name you have IQ.
Yeah. Oh, I do.
Oh, look at that. Wow, how interesting. But Dr. Monique Charles, I'm hoping that you're going to stay with us for the rest of the show. But I do want to say for this segment, it has been the Let's Talk show, and you have been fantastic. Your study is so interesting, or studies. Your CV is amazing. The fact that you travel to different parts of the world to depart your information and your knowledge is fantastic. The fact that you have publications and you openly share the knowledge that you have, and that you just don't go around saying, I wonder if I don't, you actually do something about it. You pass that on and you share that. That is phenomenal for young people. That is also phenomenal for your peers. It is also phenomenal for those who are older than you, because there is always something to learn. And what I love about doing the Let's Talk show, and I believe E will say the same, is that I always leave having gained something. I always leave having learnt something. I'm always a different person at the end of the show. Does it feel a bit like that for you, E?
Yeah, it always does. I think all the guests that comes in here, they inspire you to do stuff. I mean, it's like, don't forget, last week we had a challenge. We put a challenge out.
Oh, yeah.
Before we go to the ad break, should we talk about the challenge now, or do you want to talk
So,
about it after?
no, let's do it now. So, the challenge was it when was the last time you did something for the first time?
Yeah.
Okay, so Big E, I challenged you. What is the thing that you've done?
Well, the last time I did something for the first time was last week Wednesday. I went to a body conditioning class.
Ooh.
It was hard work, yeah, but I've managed to do the whole thing. Yes, so that's one for me. Ka-ching.
I have to say, he does look rather fabulous having done the body conditioning. I think I might need to do that next week. Okay, I have to say, it got to about Thursday and I was like, oh, he's going to say, what have you done? And I just had to concede to begin with, but actually, not exactly, because I'm about to do this thing for the first time. So those of you know that I love music, I love dancing. You also know that I am the presenter, and I emphasise the word presenter because people say DJ Blaze. No, I'm not DJ Blaze. I am Blaze, the presenter for the Let's Talk show. But I am about to start rolling some tune after the all-important commercial break. So I need to say, Big E, with your body conditioning that you have done and your oh-so-fabulous self, that I am about to be fabulous after the show. But guess what? Before we go to that, do you think it's fitting that we should have the all-important commercial break?
Yeah.
Get up. Get ready. Leave house. Get to work. Shuffle paper. Go to meeting. Eat lunch. Look busy. Leave work. Get home. Watch TV. Go to bed. Repeat until weekend. Want a new job this year? To find out about the 147 different careers we offer, visit armyjobs.mod.uk. One Army, regular and territorial.
If you've got damage on your windscreen, then call Autoglass now. Because we're giving away free Bosch wipers with front windscreen repairs and replacements. But you have to book by the 27th of March. So don't miss out. Call 0800 234 234 or visit autoglass.co.uk. Terms and exclusions apply.
Autoglass repair, Autoglass replace.
Don't look now, the one who's just walked in. Oh, she has got it all.
The one with the long scarf and the woolly hat.
Yeah, don't be so obvious.
I see what you mean. She's got the lot. She's got everything.
Yeah. Oh, she's coming over here. Quick, spread out. We don't want her sitting next to us.
If you've got a cold that's got it all, headache, blocked nose, sore throat, chesty cough, there's only one thing that does it all. Beecham's All-in-One. Give your cold the Beecham's All-in-One and always read the label.
Your local blood bank is running low on reserves of blood group O. Call 0845 711 711 now. Do something amazing today. Save a life. Give blood.
Tricky thing, building an electric car. Without engine noise to hide behind, every squeak and rattle becomes painfully apparent. It has to be designed, developed and built differently. That's why the BMW i3 is made with lightweight carbon fiber in one of the most sustainable, purpose-built automotive factories in the world. Because we weren't just building an electric car, but an electric car that drives like a BMW. Discover more at becomeelectric.co.uk.
What's this?
Edge of Tomorrow, action movie.
In action. Simon, we've got the flat to ourselves.
I know. We can watch the new X-Men too.
With the new deal from BT, you get BT Infinity Fibre Optic plus BT TV with must-see dramas on Netflix and the latest movies to rent or buy on BT Box Office. All for $5.99 a month for the first 6 months, then $20.99 a month. Visit bt.com/TV.
BT line $16.99 a month, 68% UK coverage, $6.95 hub delivery, £49 TV Infinity activation. No calls included, terms apply. New customers, 18-month term, then $28.49 monthly, 20 gigabytes usage, payable by direct debit, Netflix from $5.99 a month.
ISDN is a tool of the company. Previous to having ISDN, it was a very rigid sort of company, and we're just a lot more flexible. It can definitely give you the edge.
It's definitely improved the way we work, so I think it's value for money.
Every week, BT install 2,000 ISDN lines. If you call now, you can save £80 on connection. Why not change the way we work? Why not call BT on free phone 0800 800 800?
Okay, so we are back from the all-important commercial break. We are about to start the party, but before that, I don't know how I forgot this. That's why it's so amazing having E with his, body conditioned self, because he reminds me of the things that I forget about. So yesterday, wow, I received the information that the victory for Bridge Park Community Centre campaigners as the High Court quashes Brent Council's injunction bid over land sale. I mean, I have to tell you, I absolutely screamed. What a victory. You know, Brent Council were trying to claim the land. It does not belong to them. There were several councillors. I have had some meaty debates with several councillors who don't get why I support the Bridge Park campaign, who don't get why I was there in the earlier days, who don't get why we as a people and a community are fighting for it, because it's ours to fight for. And so now we have won the case so far, and we are going to full trial. At least that's how the case was left. Actually, really, that's going to cost a lot of money. The ideal thing would be for Brent Council to have a conversation with the Bridge Park Community Council and have a conversation with them, speak to us, speak to the community, find out how we can come to some agreement. It's no point in fighting there's no point in going to trial. You know already, Brent Council, that the community have come together in the masses to support the cause. And I think you need to speak to the community leaders. You need to speak to Leonard Johnson, Maureen Hibbert, Cheryl Phoenix, Shirley Wilson and Jay Mastin, amongst the others, Hawkeye and George Avantgarde, and anybody that's been involved in that campaign. So I am pleased to announce that we have won the first part of that campaign. I am really, really super proud of you guys. You have worked tirelessly. I'm also really proud of the fact that the community have come out again with their drums. Love it, love it, love it. And we've come out to support, because we need to let them know that we're there. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it myself physically, but nonetheless, I was at home and supporting. I understand also that Dawn Butler, the Brent Council local MP, was in the newspaper, and she is right behind, as I knew she wasn't anyway in the beginning, she is right behind the cause, and I believe she's going to be having some meetings possibly with the council to see if we can come to an arrangement. So watch this space, and well done, well done, well done. So I'm going to revisit the quote, and today's quote is in line with the title of the show, The After Party. We have had Dr. Monique Charles, who is staying with us to party. So the quote is, where words fail, music speaks. One good thing about music, when it hits you, you feel no pain. I might even do some singing. But in the meantime, E, do you think we should kick off with the first song? What do you think?
Yeah, I think you should kick off with the first song.
All right, let's...
But when you can do... with the songs, as you send them out, let them know whose choice it was. What do you reckon?
I think they're going to know, because the ones that you sent out, you have to say them, because I don't even know what they are. Okay, maybe we should introduce our own tracks. Okay. Although, E, I think you might have put this in, but I think I was doing this genre of music, so it is That was the one like Mr. Barrington
Levy.
Levy. Well, E is saying that was his tune, so we're going to allow him. He said that's his tune. I think actually, E, I think the next one might be yours. Are you ready to kickstart with the next one?
Next one's me again.
Look at E
Me.
with his hot self, your body combat self. Okay, so the next one is none other than Mr. Oh, I do actually love him though, Mr. Freddie McGregor with a version of Night Nurse. I have to say, it's a big E. Don't mess about with my man Gregory Isaacs, you know. Although I do love Freddie McGregor. But that was a version, anyway, of Night Nurse. During the break, I spoke to my brother-in-law, Al. He has just set himself a challenge. He will be coming into the studio to play some tune. So I want to send a good afternoon shout-out to Al, my brother-in-law, and, of course, my sister. I want to send a shout-out to Rudy, who has just tuned in. But this one is my one, Big E. It's none other than one of my favourites. It's Mikey Spice and I Am, I Said. Wow. Monique and Dr. Monique, sorry, and E are laughing at me with my old people's tune.
No, we weren't. No,
were you laughing at my dancing? What were you laughing at?
No, we were not laughing at you. I had my hand to my stomach, my other hand out. Yeah. And I was doing a little two-step.
Oh, he was practicing the moves.
Yeah, I was doing a little two-step. You know them ones when they pretend they got a dancing partner.
Standard.
But I told E,
standard.
I told E that's when the dance is sweet.
That's the standard move, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we are trying to get through some tunes, and so up next is another one of my favourites. It is Morgan Heritage, and I'm feeling like I'm in the loving mood. So it's called She Still Loving Me.
Okay, tune.
Morgan I've got to tell you,
Big People Party.
So what's the matter with Big E today? But he is killing myself and Dr. Monique Charles with some dance moves in the studio.
Big tune. I'm just remembering the days when they used to put the thumb to the stomach and do that little two-step move. Remember?
We don't even know what that means, do we? It's the body conditioning. Yeah, Monique says I think he got a bit carried away with this thing that he done for the first time. He's still doing it. It's over, E. You're in the studio now. But anyway, we are now going to change the genre completely because we want to mix up the after party.
Mix and blend is the new trend.
Indeed. So I hope that some of you remember this amazing singer with one of my favourites, also from a different genre. This is, as Big E said, it's a big tune, and it is, of course, a Tina Marie with Square Biz. and Square Biz. We are having an absolute party in the studio. Patrick D, yes, I know, what a tune. Sandra, I know that you are dancing Emerson, although Garnet Silk is your favourite. We have now switched over to a bit of Tina Maria. It is time, however, for the all-important commercial break, and then, of course, we will be right back with the party.
Get up. Get ready. Leave house. Get to work. Shuffle paper. Go to meeting. Eat lunch. Look busy. Leave work. Get home. Watch TV. Go to bed. Repeat until weekend. Want a new job this year? To find out about the 147 different careers we offer, visit armyjobs.mod.uk. One Army, regular and territorial.
If you've got damage on your windscreen, then call Autoglass now. Because we're giving away free Bosch wipers with front windscreen repairs and replacements. But you have to book by the 27th of March. So don't miss out. Call 0800 234 234 or visit autoglass.co.uk. Terms and exclusions apply.
Autoglass repair, Autoglass replace.
Don't look now, the one who's just walked in. Oh, she has got it all.
The one with the long scarf and the woolly hat.
Yeah, don't be so obvious.
See what you mean, she's got the lot, she's got everything.
Yeah. Oh, she's coming over here. Quick, spread out. We don't want her sitting next to us.
If you've got a cold that's got it all, headache, blocked nose, sore throat, chesty cough, there's only one thing that does it all. Beecham's All-in-One. Give your cold the Beecham's All-in-One, and always read the label.
Your local blood bank is running low on reserves of blood group O. Call 0845 7 711 711 now. Do something amazing today. Save a life. Give blood.
Tricky thing, building an electric car. Without engine noise to hide behind, every squeak and rattle becomes painfully apparent. It has to be designed, developed and built differently. That's why the BMW i3 is made with lightweight carbon fiber in one of the most sustainable, purpose-built automotive factories in the world. Because we weren't just building an electric car, but an electric car that drives like a BMW. Discover more at becomeelectric.co.uk.
What's this?
Edge of Tomorrow, action movie.
In action. Simon, we've got the flat to ourselves.
I know. We can watch the new X-Men too.
With the new deal from BT, you get BT Infinity Fibre Optic plus BT TV with must-see dramas on Netflix and the latest movies to rent or buy on BT Box Office. All for $5.99 a month for the first 6 months, then $20.99 a month. Visit bt.com/TV.
BT line $16.99 a month, 68% UK coverage, $6.95 hub delivery, £49 TV Infinity activation. No calls included, terms apply. New customers, 18-month term, then $28.49 monthly, 20 gigabytes usage, payable by direct debit, Netflix from $5.99 a month.
ISDN is a tool of the company. Previous to having ISDN was a very rigid sort of company, and we're just a lot more flexible. It can definitely give you the edge.
It's definitely improved the way we work, so I think it's value for money.
Every week, BT install 2,000 ISDN lines. If you call now, you can save £80 on connection. Why not change the way we work? Why not call BT on free phone 0800 800 800?
So we are back from the all-important commercial break. It is a party in the house, the Let's Talk show. Today with us, we have the fantastic Dr. Monique Charles. Note that she has IQ in her name, and she has been talking to us about her IQ. E has been giving us beer jokes, as he would say, about the music and the party. So there is going to be one more from me, I think, Big E, and then it's after that, it's over to you. But this is what I like about E. He always treats us like a lady. So, of course, it is the Temptations, and it's Treat Us Like a Lady.
Cheers.
Tell Like a Lady by The Temptations. So, E, what's up next? What do you think we should go with next? This is your choice, yours
party
choice.
On Chalkhill Radio, and we're gonna roll on and rock with Aaliyah. Rock the boat.
Hey. We are having so much fun in the studio. The
Party
last two tracks were Patrice Rushen and Feel So Real. After that followed The Light of the World, London Town. We are having a party. But as always, we're almost out of time, aren't we, Big E? So we're going to just change up the genre completely.
We're going to quickly chuck in a couple of...
what are we having?
I think we're going to go with some soca.
Okay, are you ready? This is over to Big E.
Yeah.
Whenever you're ready, you take it away. What have we got coming up, Big E?
This is... I hope this works. It's Mr. Killer and Run With It.
Run With It. Wow, we are having a party. It is more music and less talk today. I hope you guys are having a fabulous time. In the studio, we have had Dr. Monique Charles, myself, Blaze, and of course the fantastic Big E. We have been talking about grime music. We have been talking about beauty. We have been talking about academia. We have been talking about hard work, but we have also been having a party. We've been talking about how music affects us in different arenas, how different genres of music can affect you. We've been talking about how much hard work Dr. Monique Charles has done with her fantastic CV. I mean, she really does look like she's 18, but she has done a wealth of things which will tell you that she probably isn't. As I said before, I'm probably not quite old enough to be her mum, but I am so proud of her nonetheless. She is a fabulous young lady. Dr. Monique Charles, have you had a good time in the studio?
I've had an amazing time. Thank you for having me.
And you were going to come back actually and tell us about some stuff that you've got up and coming. Is that right? You're going to do that?
Yes. Sound and music is my thing, and I also look at, sound therapy as well, and using sound for, I suppose, therapeutic healing purposes. So I'll talk about that another time.
We look forward to having you back. I think Big E has something lined up for us. Big E, do you have something lined up for us?
Yeah, we've got one more. We're going to be going out with...
is it an oldie but a goodie?
Yeah, it's an oldie but goodie, as people call it. Let me see where we're at with it, and we could pick up something and probably run with it.
Pick up something and run with it. I like that. That was by Killer, wasn't it? Pick up something and run with it. So what are we picking up and what are we running with? Are we running with anything before the close of the show? We'll be back next week. Don't forget with with Miss Pamela Haynes. I interview so many male guests, I'm confusing the genders. But next week, tune in, same time, same place, the Let's Talk Show, Chalkhill Community Radio Station with Blaze and Big E. Are we good to go? Are we having a final tune, or are we out of time? We could slow it down. What do you think, E?